Welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony C. hosting in the edition of our show, and we are broadcasting from our headquarters in Atlanta. This is the Hour of Politics, and as you know, I am your guest. Welcome and welcome to our broadcast. Do us that usual favor quickly, share the show with your contact. We have a special guest in studio, somebody who is a member of the diaspora community, went to Liberia on a mission, and we have to hear from him. Mr. Vah Tukpah Jr. is in studio as guest here at Focus on Liberia. Welcome to our show. We will be having an exclusive interview with Mr. Tukpah on his recent Senate run and how are things in Liberia. He has been on the ground. I've been trying to follow up with him. I see playing basketball with kids and going here and there. We want to know what is going on in Liberia. Well, I don't want to bore you. Let us welcome our guest, Mr. Vah Tukpah Jr. Mr. Tukpah, welcome to Focus on Liberia. As always, this is home for you. We are happy to have you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm glad that you are here. You went there in Liberia to contest. That was a bold step, by the way. And we're going to talk about it today.
You trying to keep it for the people on the ground? I'm a member of the ground. You keep saying I'm a member of the diaspora. I'm a member of both places. Don't try that bifurcation or separation that a lot of people try to do.
All right. I'm glad you're saying that. So the next time you come here, you will be a stranger. Make sure you call me before.
I can't be a stranger in either place. Both places are home.
Both places are home, and maybe that is what we need to do. Well, before we get to our interview here, were you disappointed with the result of the referendum?
Referendum? What's that?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know? You didn't know about it, Mr. Tukpah?
No, that was a joke. It wasn't a referendum. The real referendum was how the people voted. That's the real referendum.
All right. Well, let's get started here. Again, folks, share the show with your contact. We are here to have a conversation with Vah Tukpah Jr., former chairman of CDC USA. He is a Liberian like all of us. He went to Liberia to contest in a senatorial race. He was very unsuccessful, but lessons were learned. We want him to share those with us. And Axel said, hey, see, I can share them, those lessons will be valuable for all of us for the forward march of our country. So he is here. He doesn't like the big introduction thing, so we will get into it. But my man, how is Liberia, first of all?
Liberia is tough, man. It's very difficult. The productive capacity is very, very limited.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are unemployed. Even some of the few are unemployed who are employed.
Mm-hmm.
All they do is probably try to get something. So, things have to change. Things really, really have to change. Leadership has to improve. They have to do the right things. They got to create economic opportunities for people. Just the talk will not do it. They got to be practical. It got to be about action.
You heard him that just the talk will not cut it. And we have to be practical. And we all need to be practical. And only the practicality will get us there. That is why Isaiah is telling us. So let's get to it. A Senate run. You didn't get to the promised land. What were your motivational reasons for contesting?
I mean, it's clear Montserrat needs good leadership. The country needs good leadership. Okay. I differentiate myself in that respect. But you got to respect the people's choice. They get the leadership they voted for. So now they have their expectations, and I hope the leadership can deliver, because if that leadership they elected makes a difference for them, I'm happy, because it makes a difference for the Montserrat people, it makes a difference for Liberia.
And Mr. Tukpah, everyone runs for a reason. So what's your case?
I just told you, better leadership. There's a deficit of leadership. Mr. Taylor was there for a year. He's back there for 9 years. I personally did not believe he has the leadership potential, the network, the exposure, the capability to make a difference for the people of Montserrat County. But if he does it, I will be excited because it makes a difference for them. So it's a challenge to him indirectly. And we are here to support whoever, you know, whether is this government that's fumbling with a lot of things, or whether it's Mr. Dillon, or whether it's any other person who wants to be progressive and productive in the interest of the people, we are willing to support.
So what level of leadership, what kind of difference, leadership you were hoping, to bring to the people of Montserrat, if they have given you their blessing, that current leaders are not providing, for which you contested?
Well, current leaders are not pushing production. They are not pushing investment in the economy. They're not pushing empowerment and improvement of people from where they are to somewhere higher, because most cannot do that. We still do those things in our own little way. We try to affect the lives of people, engage them in whatever they do, and try to make them a little better than what they are. But our efforts are limited because we don't have the mandate to go out on behalf of the people. Only in a limited space can we do that. And we will still continue to do that as we have done before.
Mr. Tukpah, you know timing. I know you very well. You are a guy of timing. And so I'm going to press you here. Was the time right? Isaac, was the time right? You know the binariness, if I can put it that way, of our elections. But you went in this race knowing how things were. I mean, did you go at the right time?
You have to show people that there's something different. There are other alternatives out here. Mm-hmm. So, it was an open and shut case, in the end. But when you engage people and you talk to them, you see the possibility of what they really need. But right. Maybe, again, our people don't understand civics. Many don't understand their fundamental human rights and their constitutional rights. So they vote on popularity. They're not voting on substance most of the time. So we understand. So it's about how much can we educate them for them to get to that point, maybe by 2023, maybe by 2026, 2029. Who knows what the timeline is? But there has to be a national concerted effort, to educate our people on voting, on vetting candidates, on the principles of democracy, on their own rights. All of those things are civics related. And, hopefully civics will be in the school this academic year, and it will, kind of proliferate to the rest of the population through interaction from those who are learning and want to live examples of, responsible citizenship.
You are a numbers guy. The last time we had a conversation here, I pressed you on the numbers. Where you're going to get a vote? You look at the total number of registered votes in Montserrat, somewhere around 700,000, if I'm right here. And you told me if you look at what Dillon won then and what the number the CDC got at the time, it was like 50%. So I'm going to go for that number. It did not happen. Why could you have done differently that you did not do, for which you didn't get those people?
Well, I think at the end of the day, again, that this election was a referendum. People were trying to demonstrate to the government that the government was not doing right, and they had an option that was revealing the inadequacies of the government. The people who voted for Thomas Falah, at the time, citizens who want to say the CDC is still in control. So there was a stark thing. Even though if you talk to the people, they will tell you straight up, even the citizens who voted for Thomas Falah, that the government has not done enough. But it was party mandate for them to vote. Where is country mandate versus party mandate? I guess there's no country mandate because people not seeking the interests of the country. And then the people who voted for Dillon, they were very frustrated with this government. They feel he played the role of revealing, salaries, which is, I guess that was his campaign promise, and he fulfilled it. So that satisfied them, and he got the position. But I just hope he goes beyond that, shining the light, and actually demonstrating some actionable things for the people.
Mr. Tukpah, you went to Liberia with a substantive message, because I read your platform, as I always do. But on the other side, Dillon was, I don't know if I can play a crewman here, it was more like superficial on the surface. and I will shine a light, and it resonated with our people. Is there anything that you learn from this kind of messaging for our people? You instead of platform, you say, hey, you see this shining object? My question is, have you tooled your message a little differently? Do you think you're going to make any impact or not?
No, I don't think so. Maybe I've been cussing the government or something. Maybe I've made an impact, but that's not me. So either people accept the substance or they deal with the results they get. I mean, it's just plain and simple. Let's see over the 9 years what he provides for them, what changes for them. Let's see over the next 3 years what this government will do, whether it can reverse course and start to make a difference in the lives of the people. Those are things that are just up there. Personally, my life will not change. I will be the same. I will do many of the same things. I will continue to make the effort to make a difference in the lives that I can interact with or touch. I can't do it for everybody, obviously. So, it is what it is. I don't think changing the message works. People still need to understand healthcare. They still need to understand the education system. They still need to understand water, sanitation, and hygiene, the necessity of those things. They need to understand how the economy should move forward. They need to understand agriculture is the way forward. They need to understand we have a huge opportunity in tourism. So those fundamental messages from me in terms of my platform will not change, but it has to be probably hammered home more consistently to a wider audience that people can start to buy and share the vision themselves and be able to demand that and want that from the government.
So Vah Tukpah will not play the end justify the means. He will play it straight, even though that path is longer and it might not help you get there. You will still do it anyway. Is that what you're telling me?
If I follow that argument, then some people say, play stupid to get in, right?
Right.
Just act like you're a sycophant or ring kisser and just, stay with the CDC, try to get in position and then change. No, you already commit yourself to a certain way when you do that. How do you change when you get there? So I will not compromise the principles I believe in just for that. No, I won't do it.
Mr. Tukpah, you sacrificed a lot, just like most candidates would do. And the result was not promising for you. Any regrets going into this race, sacrificing this much?
I don't know how many times I got to say this to you. No regrets.
Okay.
It was worth the experience or worth the engagement. I got no regrets. This was not like some kind like a do or die. I mean, it's like it seems like that's how people take elections, because so many people are shocked that I'm still in Liberia. Why should they be shocked? Isn't this home for me too? They expect you to just jump on and just leave. It's not about just elections. It's about how can we make a difference and move this country forward.
So I was talking to somebody. He's like, as I went into this election, knowing he was going to lose. Was that the case, or did you actually feel at some point you could turn this thing around, pull through?
Well, without question, but I think we're just wasting time in this interview dwelling on this issue on the milk that has already spilled. Nothing is going to change. So, I mean, if you don't have anything else, we can just end this thing, but just going in this one direction of Azim will be disappointed with elections. That's not how I am. And you should know better, Anthony. I'm not a negative kind of person.
Okay. So there are many Liberians here in the U.S. and maybe other countries too that would like to take the path that you took, going there, against all the odds and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and you did. And knowing the results today, what advice that you want to share with all of us, so that if we should have, or anybody should have this kind of intention, that they need to know to do it?
I will, again, my primary advice is for us to focus on educating our people, exposing them to the issues, exposing them to the right things, exposing them to responsible citizenship, and building. There's a huge gap, whether people want to recognize it or not, between the people on the ground and people in the diaspora. Even some of the people who have been in the diaspora before that are on the ground now, they have, I don't want to say it's a complex, but it's a kind of negative reaction of people from the diaspora. So I think people from the diaspora need to make a more concerted effort to bridge that gap, to engage people here, to work with them, to try to make a difference, because the separation is tough.
You had a unique experience, with the National Election Commission. By unique experience, I mean, going through the institution to participate in the election. And election, the conduct of elections is key for the forward march of our democracy. Given your experience, are there things that you saw you think that need to be improved or changed so that we can be able to conduct our election effectively? What are those things, if any?
No question. Just the Election Commission executing its own responsibilities in terms of civic and voter education, in terms of explaining the issues around election, like the referendum. There was limited education to the people about the referendum. Responsiveness to candidates, informing candidates, getting them at the table to have some of these discussions. The whole dispute resolution process with people who have issues with regards to the elections. There should be some little bit more urgency to accelerate the decision making, the investigation around those kind of things. So I believe the elections commissions can do a better job than did this past election. But still, we must applaud them for successful elections to a large extent, and allowing the people, because sometimes elections commissions the world over sometimes can have an influence on the decision. But I believe the voice of the people was what was heard in these elections.
Well, people continue to say the voice of the people is the voice of God. I don't believe that. But that is another thing.
That's not true.
Yeah. So you agree with me?
Yes, the people can make wrong decisions. They can speak, but their decisions may not be right. But it's what they have to live with. That's the key.
I say today, living standard in Liberia is at an all-time low. Those who read economics say the economy is our problem. And so put on your business hat here. How do we turn this thing around? That's a big one for you.
Well, there are a lot of issues. But how we get our people into productive capacity is the first thing.
Okay.
I mean, the informal sector is too huge and constitute such a significant part of our economy that if we don't turn that around and get people into more productive capacities, nothing is going to happen. It's just like we are in economic survival mode and we're not even at survival level, we're below survival level. So you see people on the streets all day long. We ask them how much they're going to make for that day, maybe 1,000 Liberian dollars. Some of them 500 Liberian dollars. And how sustainable is that? It's just like zombie-like economic activity. It's a walking dead kind of thing, because it's not taking them anywhere. Where will the savings come from? Do they even understand what the banking system is about? So, people talk about all the problems and the liquidity issues and all of that. But if we don't try to formalize some sectors of our economy, if we don't improve our productive capacity, if we don't create an enabling environment to attract investment, especially investment from Liberians, small businesses are the bedrock of an economy. And if we cannot get our Liberians into productive small businesses, I don't know where our economy is going. So that turnaround has to be there. And government itself needs to focus, from my perspective, two primary things: agriculture and tourism. Those comparatively are strengths of ours. They are areas where we can leverage. And, the whole tourism thing starts from just how you look at your whole immigration on policy. What can you flex within the range of the law to attract diasporans, Liberian diasporans, or the Black diaspora to Liberia? How can you open it up? Whether from, making this an easy to get citizenship, whether that e-citizenship, whether that limited citizenship for people. I mean, because some people don't want to be in the countries they are in the West. They would prefer to probably be in Liberia. But are we open? Can we facilitate a little bit better healthcare system and rule of law system that will attract many of our own Liberians who are in the diaspora who want to be here, but the two primary concerns are security and healthcare. So can we make at least one mainstream, top of the line, has nearly everything kind of hospital that can service our people, that some people can feel comfortable with, that when they come here and they faint and they pass out, or they have a stroke, or they have a heart attack, that first level of care will be comparable to any level of care anywhere else. If we can get to that point, we can attract more of our own people. And trust me, many Liberians out there are very successful. They have an ability to impact our economy. And typically, most of them who want to come home between the ages of 40, 45 to 70, they will hire at least 5 to 6 persons, and not just for primarily the personal needs: security, houseboy, cook, wash person, driver. That's 5 right there. So some of them may need 1 or 2 more, to go. But that's 5 people, and now the average size of a household is 7 to 8 probably. So that's 5 times 7, 8. That's 35 to 40 persons lives you are impacting when somebody from the diaspora comes into this economy who's pretty decent and well off. So then there's the housing factor. There's so many other things, and that person may not even be at retirement age. They may have the opportunity to do business or to just impact the communities they live in. So there are, how should I say it? There's a downstream effect of us opening ourselves. And even if there were Black Americans we're inviting, or opening up to, decent companies with good corporate social responsibilities that can reach to our people, get into the communities, yes, extract what they want from a business perspective, but be able to leave something in return for our people, that they themselves can be successful, they themselves can be prosperous, and sometimes build wealth.
The government unveiled a policy description for our country, the Pro-Poor agenda for prosperity and development. My observation is that it is not working. Liberian economist Samuel Jackson was here, and he said something that was profound. He said, look, see, and Dennis, you can have the best plan ever in the world. The plan does not work itself. Human being makes it work with leadership. Is that the case with Liberia Pro-Poor plan?
That is correct. The Pro-Poor plan by itself, if fully implemented, will make a significant impact on the Liberian people. Mm-hmm. But how many ministries, if you look at them, for their respective portion of the Pro-Poor agenda, are actually trying to implement it? How are they expanding this economy that they can be able to get the right tax dollars to do what they want to do? Are they managing loans effectively? Because we're getting some money from out there from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Even our own taxes that are being collected, are they being effectively managed? Are we prioritizing our budget in a way to impact the lives of the people? I say no, I don't think so. It's primarily salary driven. We're talking about the education system. How much money is put into education besides salaries or besides external money for the specific projects they want? How much? Look at it. Nearly not more than 300,000. And sometimes it's not even given. So it's a sad case of us not understanding what our priorities should be, of people in government not sacrificing to the level they should, starting from the president, because that's where the leadership starts from. And, it's about him trying his best to understand the economy, to understand how things are running, and to have his fingers on what's happening. He can't be a remote control president. It won't work.
And do you think the president, this is my assessment, that he has no interest in taking leadership? Is that what you see?
Well, having a position and being a leader are two different things. He has the position, but the demonstration of leadership and standing above all of these things, ignoring the noise in the market and producing for the people, is absent.
Mr. Tuba, are you here? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so let me ask the question. What's his name? Simeon Freeman we had him here, and something he said sometime back, actually, that Liberia does not have a revenue problem. And he went on to say our problem is the issue of not having our priorities straight and right all of the time. If that statement is true to you, knowing it is another thing, doing it is another. How do we get our priority right? That is my question to you, Isaac.
We reprioritize the budget. Some of these expenses that we do, some of the travel, all of those can be cut out. But I still think we do have a revenue problem. We're not maximizing the collection of revenue from real estate to several other different areas. Is not there because we have a very informal economy, and that's what people don't want to. I don't understand until we regulate and formalize our economy that we can account for most economic activities, most of our economic activities, that we can have some granular data that we can work with to see how we can change things, how we can shift taxes, how we can do X, Y, Z. We're not moving forward because our economy should be a much bigger economy than a $3 billion economy.
I would say there is this reservoir of recommendation, this fountain of knowledge in the Liberian community that our government is not tapping into it. What is it fear that they can reach out to some people, say, hey, how? I don't understand.
It's fear, it's insecurity, it's somebody thinking, oh, if I bring that man idea here, they will say they want that man, or they will not get credit for it. The person who originated the idea will get it. So there's just so many things. I mean, I've seen instances, or I've been told about instances where people would take somebody's idea and want to say it is theirs when it's not theirs. And sometimes everything somebody put on paper is not the totality of the idea or the implementation of the idea. There are many things, there are many nuances that you will not understand when you reach a certain point. So just copying somebody's idea, it doesn't really help you. You got to work with that person. You got to bring that person in to help implement.
Well, we have heard about recalibrate. Is that even going to help? Should that happen?
What is that person defining as recalibrate?
Well, some people are saying just change people around. So you're right to ask that question. So in this case, let me flip it around. What should be a kind of recalibration that's needed?
Well, we mentioned so many different areas before.
Right.
When you recalibrate, you're looking at everything and you basically put in different measures again. So do we have the best qualified Liberians or next to the best qualified Liberians in positions? In many positions, I would say no. There definitely needs to be some change. And over 3 years, some ministers, some deputies have not produced. Where's the report card from the government itself? How is performance being managed? How effective? What are the targets the president, who is the leader, has set with each of the different ministers and deputy ministers for their respective ministries, and in terms of their collaboration or on specific projects? Because sometimes there's ministerial and other kind of activities that go on. So in the absence of that, how is he grading people? How is he determining who's performing, who's not performing? And are we going by the proper agenda? If we're going by the proper agenda, according to NIMO, they only are 8% over 3 years. So how significant? Anybody make 8% or 100%? What's that? Or let's say 50%. So that's 16 out of 100. You fail.
That's a failure, and because there is, let me put this on the screen for you. The government are calling to front page reporting based on NITMO's report. NITMO is an institution that tracks promises made by government and politicians as well. The CDC government made a total of 113 promises. In 3 years, they were able to complete or fulfill 9, constituting 8% in 3 years. They got 54 promises ongoing, 50, nothing has started so far. If you look at the percentage that has been achieved, which is 8 in 3 years, what does it tell you? You are a number guy.
But we just said it, right? Failure. Failure. It's clear that portion is a failure. So can they redeem themselves in the next 3 years? It's possible, but when there's no indication that it's going to happen, and the same people are in the position, you don't know whether they're going to be able to do it or not.
Folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony C.A. hosting. This is the Hour of Politics. We are having an exclusive conversation with Mr. Vah Tukpah, who went to his home country, our home country, Liberia, for the senatorial race in Montserrat County. Things didn't go well for him, but he is here.
No, distinguished now. Not winning and not going well are two different things, but you can use whatever term you want to use.
My man, don't pick a bone with me. I'm using my language. I'm speaking for me.
Sorry, bossman.
Okay.
All right.
So we're having this conversation about our country, Liberia. Isaac, let me ask you, my friend, this issue of decentralization, because we have had this way of providing governance for our people, central government in Morovia, and just the county development fund, 200,000 across the board for each county. What does that say? You are a numbers guy. What does that say about whether we develop this county?
Let the legislative caucus divide our money, and you see no development for the people. That's what it says. No accountability. Let them show what they have been done with 200,000 over the last 15 years, every year. That's what the amount is. No accountability. I mean, at some point, the people in the county too have to wake up and demand performance from their people. But we don't see that happening. There's just a certain level of complacency that's sickening. Take a place like Riverside. They're taking logs out of there. They're taking diamond out of there. They're taking gold out of there. What are the people benefiting? Zero. I don't even think they have one good sawmill over there.
Wow. Let me put you in a difficult position. There are many Liberians that have been asking for the removal of Mr. Tukpah. He having to be the chief fiscal officer of the country, and things, being on a downward spiral economically. The thing maybe replacing him will give us a better start. Do you share that?
Well, to a large extent, I do, because what has under Mr. Tukpah, how has the economy fared? You can't say the economy is booming. Can you say that?
No, I can't say that. No day.
All right. So, for people to call for him to be removed, that's natural. In most cases, when you don't perform or you don't reach the expectations, you get replaced. It's not crime for people to want him to be removed. The thing is, let's get somebody qualified in there, somebody who has the knowledge and experience to make the difference and do the people's work. And maybe, Mr. Turk will be trying his best, but his best just not enough. Sometimes it happens that way.
All right. Let me bring in some comments from folks following us here. Let me see this one from Jimmy Eastman. People are influenceable and can even be gullible. How they actually help to enlighten our people. My man, that is one there for you. How did you help to enlighten our people?
That's what I did consistently on the campaign trail, trying to let people understand their responsibility as citizens, some of the ills in the country, some of the solutions our offering. So that's how we try to help, enlighten people. And we consistently did that. It was not even about telling the people to vote for me. That was not necessarily my message. My message was more on how can we as a people move this country forward? What's your responsibility? What's government responsibility? Where are those gaps? How do we fill them? So it was a consistent education thing. And I think my I like that one from Thomas.
Yeah.
My situation is we have a lot of work to do. We need to bring more Liberians to the table, especially those qualified ones who can help, like you say, educate, elevate, promote our country. It's not happening.
It's not happening. So this one, why are the 9 promises completed? Well, I know the DOE community is one of those that I can say to you. Let's read this one from Dave Ja. how do you hire qualified people? You are not. How do
that did to go write his question properly. That question is not
how
clear.
do hire qualified people? You don't want to determine who is qualified. Dave, I think he's trying to say, how do you hire qualified people when you don't know how to determine who is qualified?
That's
That
a
is the question.
legitimate
How
point.
do you hire qualified people
That
if you
is
don't
a
know?
very legitimate point, because the process is not is arbitrary. It's not structured. You know, when you go into a process to hire people, you seek candidates, you have the metrics by which you will measure them on. You got the core requirements that you need from them, the basic ones. You got the preferred requirements that you would like them to have. I don't know if those things have been defined for many of the jobs. At the beginning of this government, we're supposed to fill in, like put in 5 decent candidates for each of the position, vet those people, and then determine who is. But the process was left on a garbage heap, and people just went and arbitrarily appointed people, which was not how it was supposed to be. But we see the results now. Many have not performed. Many people are ill-fitted for the positions they have. Many people are very insecure about where they are, and they try to protect it to the exclusion of other Liberians or other people who will help them. So it's a tough situation, very tough.
Have you been able to meet President Wyatt to talk to him since you got on the ground?
For what?
Why not?
For why? Why should I meet him?
Well, I thought you are a leader. Liberia is having, all these troubles. Maybe you can lend him ideas, to move the country forward. Don't you think it would be a good idea?
I've communicated enough ideas to people in the CDC. I don't have to meet George Weah to communicate that. I write my opinions and everything. It's up to them whether they want to utilize some of them or not. There's no requirement for me to meet the president at all.
What if you are called upon to serve?
Serve
is that
what?
window open?
There's no window like that open. Let's focus on what the future holds after 2023. I don't know what can happen between now and 2023. A lot can happen, but there's no inclination, there's no desire, there's no passion that I see coming from the government to make a difference. It seems like there's no urgency. Everything seems to be in slow motion or delay format. So, how can you work in that kind of environment? I don't know. You can work with them on the outside. I don't have a problem doing things, from a consultancy level, but not to go and take a position.
So talking about your political future, because those of us who know you know very well that you want to be able to contribute to your country in a meaningful way. It is not happening now. What is the path forward? You are a politician.
Well, I'm not your typical politician, so I'm not focused on just politics.
Okay.
There's so many other ways you can contribute to our economy, to our country, whether working directly, whether working with nonprofits, whether working with individuals and helping to boost them. So we are not particularly fixated on being, in some position in government or in some political party. If it so happens that we feel like our vision is aligned with a political party and there seems like enough energy and passion to build something and work together, I may be inclined in that direction. But at this point, I'm just assessing the environment. I'm just trying to do what I can do to help those I interact with, to connect them, build network, and that kind of stuff. That's what I'm focused on right now.
As an opinion leader, do you have any strong opinion on the CPP?
I mean, yes, the CPP, they do have some issues themselves.
Okay.
It seems like the commitment is kind of loose, because if you ask many people today, they just don't feel the CPP will hold. You will hope that they will hold together given their performance in these past elections. But when you look at what transpired with the deputy speaker vote, then you wonder on what basis was Fonanti elected? How did people vote? That's why for the longest time we have always wanted transparency in the legislature, right? We want people to say how they voted. And because of that lack of transparency in terms of voting on different bills, on different things, You don't know who voted for whom. Anybody can come and lie. But we need to look at those numbers to see whether there's a higher number of, opposition candidates, or whether the person that they prefer as their, speaker competitor was just deputy speaker competitor was just not up to par. So it was just an easy thing for Funati to win. But you would think that the opposition would have made a statement if they have won those deputy speaker election.
So I know you care more about the youth of Liberia. Anytime you went to Liberia, you go so close to them. Why is it that you see in the youth for which you always want to be close to them?
The youth are the future, really, and many have been driven down the wrong path of this, overly politicized kind of disposition, where it's like an all or nothing, a zero-sum game, a lot of unnecessary friction, just being, bad boys for some of our politicians and stuff like that. I try to see how I can engage them from an empowerment standpoint. What's your idea? What are you trying to do? How can we help? How can we support? And I always make it clear to them that the whole begging mindset, they have to get away from that and try to work on things that are sustainable. There are many of them that I love, but when your hand is just out all the time, let's find a way how you can do something for yourself rather than begging consistently. And that's my message to them. And many of them have great ideas. And that's why I'm pushing this whole Liberia integration and transformation. If we can work with those people who have ideas, who want to do better things, for them to be able to elevate themselves and work with other people and make a difference, then we can be moving the country forward. But the youth are our future. If we look at the generation behind, especially for my generation, we have quite a few people who have basically been outcast in society. We have several generations that have significant number of people who can even contribute to the society today due to whatever reasons. So that needs to change. Our generation need to work a little bit harder. We need to show more love to our people, more concern, not from a hand-out perspective, but from a hand-around shoulder perspective. Let me advise you. Let me tell you how to do this. Let me try to help you network. Let me try to vet your idea a little bit. Let me help you with strategy. Let me help you with planning. And be able to elevate some of our people, because most of us, our time have passed. But it's just that because that gap behind us and to this current generation, those like 15, 16 years old today, is so huge that we may need to stay longer on this space in order to help and support. But we don't have to be the stars. We don't have to be the leaders, but we can be those people who can help make our leadership better.
A friend of mine just came from Liberia. He has so many friends in the government. When he was going, he was hoping that those friends he made over the years serving in government will relate to him the way they related before. He told me when he got close to some of them, he wanted to see what their challenges were. They were not willing to open up. They were shy away. Did you get experiences like that from folks you knew before?
Most of the people in government are out of my beginning or people them I know.
I know what I'm asking the question.
So the tendency, and they know I'm a truth teller. I will tell them the truth.
Yeah.
So they may not want to hear that. So it's in their best interest to probably shy away and stay away. It's nothing of me. So, it's just what it is. One or two of them have been, very engaging. They have reached out and talked. One or two have been from a remote distance, and many of them have just completely not communicated. But that's fine with me. People make their choices, they live with them.
Let's talk security, Isaac. We heard about the death of the auditors, the 3 missing boys. Now, all the cases, we don't know the outcome here. People just going about their normal businesses in Liberia as though nothing happened.
I will tell you something. People have been so traumatized in so many different ways. They are just desensitized to death. Wow. It's not that important that the person next to them dies. For many people, I'm being honest, you don't see no empathy, you don't see no real loss, even when a close relative passes away.
Hello, are you with us? There seems to be a little issue there, folks. Folks, there seems to be a little issue there. Let's see if Isaac can get adjusted. You are watching Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony C. hosting here at the Hour of Politics. We are in conversation with Mr. Vah Tukpah. Mr. Tukpah is in Liberia. He went there to contest in the senatorial elections in Montserrat County. And we are trying to get, all the experiences he's had, from running for office to being there on the ground. And he being an opinion leader too, we try to ask him some questions on what he has been able to see so far in Liberia. Let me read some comments while I wait for him to join me. Thomas Awoji, what are 10 accomplishments of this administration so far? Well, Awoji, that is not my job. I don't know if I can tell you I know about the dual community role, but that is not my place. My job is to ask questions. Jimmy Eastman writes, people are mining illegally in Liberia. There is a flight of our resources, and this leakage is not being addressed. Kickbacks are allowing broad day highway robbery. Liberia bleeds. Oh, Jimmy Eastman, your pen is bleeding too. It is a sad case, or are we not putting qualified people where they can make a difference and following through with implementation? This is a long one there from William Thomas Benarkin, an affiliate here, Focus on Liberia. How is what Mr. Vah Tukpah saying anything different than what the current administration is saying as a plan for Liberia? What is actually implementation plan? How is he going to do what he is suggesting? Does the executive branch even have the power to divert funds from salary and legislature? Please tell us. Jimmy, again, leadership is always key. And Jimmy, you just nailed it right there. And let's look at this one: healthcare, security, infrastructure, education, agriculture, tourism. That is Thomas Awoji. He's saying those are the areas we need to focus. Anthony asked the brother about his future plans. The past is the past. I think I did. Education, 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 he writes. Jimmy, Anthony, are you taking calls? No, Jimmy, I am not taking calls. Jimmy, I asked, what is your next step? I asked that question. I say, answer. Awoji, I say, you did well, bro. Keep doing the groundwork. All right. These are just few comments here. All right. I see that Isaiah has just joined me. Thanks so much for making the effort and joining me. Yeah, go ahead.
That's the current challenge.
What happened? Your light went off or what?
Yes, my light did.
Okay.
So electricity disappeared and we had to switch to the generator. So that happens.
Okay, that's good. So welcome back. You were talking about the death of the auditors and the 3 boys, and you were like people are desensitized. That's the word used.
Yes, and it's very sad. Those people, families, they're just grieving. There's going to be no real outcome for them, no real closure, no real satisfaction. And the same with the war. We had the war. For a lot of people, there's still no closure, no war crimes court, and the people who victimize them are walking around with impunity, intimidating every time they talk about war crimes court, like Prince Johnson and others around here. So at what point do we really intentionally try to reconcile all these gaps and fissures we have in our country. You know, when do we realize that people are hurt, really hurt? They have been numbed, they have been desensitized, and when can we poke some pins and needles and do that acupuncture necessary to get them vibrant and working, as opposed to being zombies and just walking around, just only surviving on hopefully a daily bread? You know, we have to bring that change. Something has to happen for us to be able to get there.
Legislative accountability, checks and balances. The legislature has to work for us. It's not, and you know it, and I know that's why you wanted to go there. How can the legislature intervene in the kind of situation we have? Or are they like conspirators or accomplices in these economic crimes?
Historically, they have been. Look at the budget growth of our legislature.
Right.
Look at how their portion has consistently increased over the years, and compare that with education, with healthcare, with other things, and see the percentage growth and the difference in those things. So most times the people who get there are mainly concerned about themselves and, you know, how they can maybe profit off government than to say, how can I make a difference for my fellow Liberians? And that's a tough thing, you know. Just tell me when the last time the legislature was audited. So if they cannot even audit themselves and they cannot be accountable to the people, they cannot be transparent, how can they really hold other people accountable? It's hard. It's very hard.
I interviewed a gentleman yesterday, Eddie Javolo, who is the executive director for, I think, NIDMO, a group that tracks the promises made by politicians. He said something that was profound, Isaac. He said, our legislature does not have a functioning website, no voting record in the 21st century. If you were there, how will you change that?
Well, you push for that. You push for that. And even if the legislator refuses, you work with the legislative press, those people who cover the legislature, to be monitoring those votes, to say XYZ lawmaker voted ABC. You push for a shadow website, whether it's authorized by legislator or not, that keeps track of their activities. You know, you got to bring transparency to the table. That's the only way we move forward. What are people doing there for the salaries they are making? How can you compare their output with their intake from government? You know, and their benefits, all of those things. That's a way to drive accountability and to separate, you know, the goats from the sheep. But who's doing it, we don't know.
Finally, 27.5 billion is in the news to be printed. We know our history now when it comes to printing, and printing.
Yep.
It's actually Vah Tukpah worried that these boys, excuse me for my language, will print again and then we'll have another trouble on our hands.
Well, without question, even let's forget about that 16 billion. Let's say we listen to what Crow said in terms of all the recommendations made about the changes for the central bank, the accountability processes that need to be put in, how the money will be infused and stuff. Didn't we just print $4 billion?
We did.
What's the news on on our $4 billion? Who did they infuse that money to? How was it infused into the economy? Did it solve any problem? Did it mop up any problem? So are we chasing the wrong thing here? Why don't we go to the core of the problem? The informal sector. Why don't we try to formalize some of that? Why don't we try to educate our people on the operations of banks? Why won't we try to give banks a little bit more credibility? I mean, the people who hold a significant amount of the currency here, the fuller traders, they don't trust the banks. Even the fuller organization, I was, you know, kind of engaged with them a little bit. They got money in the bank that they can't even get out. So how can you put your hard-earned cash or whatever way you get it into some kind of gaping hole and you can't get it out when you need it? So again, we got to get to the root of the problem. We got to get the commitment from the government. All this money, the government, I think the government owes the central banks, I mean the commercial banks, nearly $200 million. You know, are they going to pay those monies? How are they going to pay those monies? So there got to be some vibrancy and turnover in the economy. I mean, what should be the revenue producing arms of the government? Are they really meeting the targets? Do they set it? Whether it's immigration, whether it's the LRA, whether it's, you know, the land authority. I mean, government can actually monetize itself. There are ways to do that. But the stuff that goes on, especially like from the free port and other things, luckily recently they passed an executive order that now kind of liberates people in terms of the kind of importation they can do.
Right.
It just seems like there's some kind of strategy at the port though to delay people, to get them to go into storage fees and demurrage that will cause them probably to abandon their containers and stuff like that for them to auction it. So there gotta be some kind of accelerated process or some kind of special consideration of people that they can get the stuff out, especially those entrepreneurial things that are being imported to make a difference in the economy.
Well, Isaiah, I know you are telling the truth here. I'm listening to you carefully. Every time you speak, I get hopeless. So I've got a tax for you.
But that's not my intention. No, I really believe we can. This country can be turned around. We can't give up. We gotta. For me, 2035 is when I will give up.
2035.
Yeah, 2035. If we don't move forward by 2035, what are we? 2020. That's 15 years from now. Then I will sit back and say, let me just relax. I will just go on the beach somewhere and just chill. Maybe River says.
Well, you have given me this sense that you know, forgiveness is in your DNA. Why are you talking like that?
Oh, I don't have anything against anybody. What do you mean about forgiving? I'm just saying I will not have confidence in, because at that time, so we got 3, 6, 6, 12 and 3, that's 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2029, we're supposed to have 2023, we're supposed to have a new government, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
6 years later, if whoever that new government screws up, the people have the opportunity to change that government. 6 years after that, 2015, they have an opportunity again. If by that time we don't see that we are moving in the right direction, we'll step back and let a new set of people try to energize and educate. We'll still do what we do, but it will not be on our vocal skill, that active skill, and coming on shows like this, you know, to discuss the issues and stuff like that, you know.
All right.
The way I am, who knows? 15 years from now, I will still be crying behind Liberia business and wishing for the best. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think you stay well. So thanks so much for the time. We have scheduled there for an hour. We have gone an hour now. We hope that you continue to enjoy your stay. But what are you leaving with us? Diaspora Liberians are anxious, you know, for, you know, in what is that glorious land of liberty, right? Are we ever going to get there? Speak to us.
Yes, we can make it, but we really need more committed Liberians, especially Liberians in the diaspora. Many of our people on the ground are burnt out. Many of them don't see a better future. Many of them do not have hope. We need to do, whether it's a relationship system or a mentoring system or partnership or collaboration system, we need to establish something where people on the ground who are doing positive things or who have the potential to do positive things can be matched with individuals or groups or organizations in the diaspora that they can work together mutually for the benefit of something. We need more people from the diaspora, especially those who are probably retired or close to retirement, to start looking at Liberia as the option for them to come to. If we can do some of those things, I think, you know, we'll start to get things are moving in the right direction. More people need to find their voices and speak up. You know, people get a lot of stress, a lot of humiliation, and they just suppress it because they are so scared, because it's the people thing, or if they say something, they will marginalize them, they will get to their family and stuff like that. But sometimes you got to sacrifice. You got to be like, okay, so they're not going to get my cousin job, they're not going to get my auntie job, whatever, but I can't just be quiet. I will have to say something. I will have to participate in this process. I have my democratic right. I'm an individual. Let me exercise it. So we need to teach people more about the democratic rights, about how they can stand up, how they can advocate for issues, and all in a peaceful manner, I must add, because sometimes these things, people tend to get emotional, overly passionate, become violent, become destructive. That's not the direction I'm saying. I'm saying, a peaceful demonstration, protest, march in the best interest to bring things to bear. And sometimes you don't need 5,000 people to make a point. Or few people standing their ground can make significant points for the issues that they are concerned with and they are raising.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Isaac Vah Tukpah Jr. As always, focus on Liberia is home. If we can do this again. Thank you for coming.
Definitely, I really appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job in billing and billing. So thank you for all the work you are doing. Tell Dave that Dennis that you guys are doing a great job, and you guys should keep it up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Folks, we are done with our guests, but I have something juicy for you. I want you to wait for that. Wait for that. Bear with me. I mean, you're going to like it, and it is for you. It is not for our guests, just for you, something special. And let me share it with you. But before I can share that, what's about this? Do you know what I'm thinking about? Here I focus on Liberia. We have a brand new show that we started some time ago, and that series ended. That show is back. You want to know the name of it? Who can guess? Those of you who follow us here as we do the educating, elevating, and promoting all things Liberia. Boom. Here you go. It's called Chemistry and Society. Chemistry and Society returns to focus on Liberia. It starts this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Your presenter, Dr. Gola Falete. Again, your presenter is Dr. Gola Fale. Dr. Gola Fale, the man eats, sleeps, and walk chemistry, if I can pull it that way. So Dr. Gola Fale will be here on Chemistry and Society. Also, this Friday, you don't want to miss it. We have another program here called The Literary Hour. The Literary Hour comes on this Friday in another episode. This time we will have Jackie Sayer with Professor Dr. Kemo Senamwe. They will be on the Literary Hour. What will they be talking about? The social and moral issues in Liberian literature. You do not want to miss this. Your mind will be blown away. Also coming to focus on Liberia, we have a brand new show coming called The Liberian Dream. Hold on now. I got something for you. This is not it. I got something for you. Wait for it before you leave. The brand new show, The Liberian Dream, starts this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And the presenter is Leo Johnson. Leo will be driving all through a conversation about who we are as a people. His topic, the current state of Liberian citizenship, our cultural understanding. You're talking about community-driven solution. You don't want to miss it. Last but not the least, Rabbi Monsieur Pade of the One People Revolutionary Movement will be on Focus on Liberia starting the 31st of January. That will be on a Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And thereafter, it will be every other Sunday live here at Focus on Liberia. Rabbi Monsieur Pade. He is a leader. He is a politician. He's an economist, a writer. He's a peace expert. The guy knows his stuff, and he will be here at Focus on Liberia. Now, this is what I have packaged for you. And wait, for those of you who love politics, wait, this is it. Let me give it to you. And I'm not the one who wrote this. I found this somewhere. Many of you might have come across it, but it's so powerful. And so I'm going to close with that here. And it reads, today is ours. Let's live it. Today is ours. If you are a Liberian, whatever situation you find yourself in, Today is ours. And I'm going to make this political. For those who are in government, our friends who are in government, today is yours. Make it different. Do not steal. Live to make a difference, for today is yours. The opportunity to make a difference, the opportunity to serve your country and its people is yours, and it's now. You must live it. And by meaning, and by saying live it, it means you must make all the difference that you can to the fullest capacity of your entire being, so that when you leave tomorrow, when you look behind and you look at the marks that you've made, you will be proud of yourself instead of being ashamed of yourself. But you guys know the story. We have people who rush into government. What do? They steal. I'm not going to economize words here. They go into government and they steal. Today is yours. Live it. And in every capacity, whatever you are doing today at your place of work, folks, whatever you're doing, today is your time to do it. Live it and do it to the best of your ability. Love is strong. Let's give it. And those in government, how can you show this strong thing, this strong force called love? And in the Bible, it said love covers a multitude of sin. If you love Liberia so much, there is telling us love is strong. How strong is your love for Liberia? Is your love so strong that you are amassing wealth at the detriment of your people? Is your love so strong for yourself that you are doing everything for you to live a better life and doing everything indirectly to make Liberians' life to be miserable? How strong is your love for Liberia and for Liberians? And I'm saying to you, love is strong. Let's give it. Give love to your people by representing them in the capacity you serve, ably, responsibly, and effectively, so that tomorrow, when you leave, when it's no longer your time, you will not be shameful of yourself. Don't be like Donald Trump, a disgraced president who served in a manner that not only desecrate his country, but was able to bankrupt his entirety as a human being. Is that what you're doing today? A song can help. Let's sing it. Your song may be your work. Anyway, I'm going to leave a piece here for you, because I think every show I need to close with this. So I'm not going to end it. I'm going to stop that far. Basically, what I'm reading to you and interpreting and trying to talk to you, it has 28 lines, and I just read 3 lines. So every show, I will be able to bring you a line. Now, what I try to do here, I'm going into poetry, literature. Remember when we show you the literary hour? How many of you will be able to come and listen to Jackie Saya and Dr. K. Mose Nambe? Many of you watched the inauguration, and you saw that young, eloquent, vibrant, and intelligent girl. And she delivered eloquently. And she read that poem. And she stole the whole show. The whole world was watching her. Do you know why it does? If only you have the slightest understanding of that, you will know what I'm talking about. Again, folks, here I focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, we promote all things Liberia. What we do here, we do it knowing that tomorrow we will look behind and say, yeah, we did it right. Are you the one who's listening to some talk show hosts because they are raining insults on others? What do you get? They corrupt your minds. All we need as a people is to get our minds in the right place, and it starts with what you're listening to. It starts with who you're listening to. It starts with the kind of platform that you're listening to. Let's communicate in a way that is responsive. Let's communicate. Let's dialogue. Let's talk about the issues. Let's debate the issues civilly, responsibly, and represent not only ourselves, but our children and our family and our country. And that is how we show our self-love. But when you denigrate somebody because you have a platform and you think you are doing any good because it fulfills the ego that overwhelms you, then you are not showing love for Liberia. On that note, I'm closing with our usual song. That song says we are all Liberians. Oh, I love that song. And that song will take us home. As always, folks, my name is Anthony Sie, and I brought you the hour of politics. Stay tuned here at Focus on Liberia, where we represent Liberia as we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.